Breaking today, Meghan Markle is said to have banned her two children, Archie and Lilibet, from Prince Harry's summer visit to the UK, which his allies believe will be an opportunity for a bonding moment with King Charles. How delusional are these people? But she is refusing to go as the UK government cover-up surrounding Prince Harry's security grows. So we're going to get into all of this today, but let's kick off with what is a PR attempt by Team Sussex to try and convince the world that King Charles is in some way wanting to make up with his son, and that would be a good thing. That would be a good thing, not just for Prince Harry, who has money to be made off the royal family, but for all of us. The royal reporter Jack Royston for Newsweek, quoting Afua Hagen, a British royal commentator who, let's just be honest about it, is Meghan Markle aligned, if you know what I'm saying, telling him, I think the king should invite Harry and Meghan this summer. Whether they'll go remains to be seen, but I think he should invite them, and I think he will probably will. So, in other words, he'll be inviting both of them, but only Harry will show up, which seems to be where we're at. Royston says one advantage of that arrangement would be that an invite from the king would likely help Harry persuade the Home Office to grant him police protection, which he argues is necessary due to the level of threat he says exists in Britain, coupled with the fact private security teams do not have the same powers as UK police and cannot carry guns. Can I just ask Newsweek, why are you pushing this idea that Harry needs security? He doesn't. He doesn't, okay? And if there is a threat, he'll get it. Newsweek went on. Harry will have a packed programme of Invictus events taking place in Birmingham after he lands in Britain, and as with past visits, media headlines will focus on whether he meets his father. Sources whom Newsweek spoke to said it was too early to say whether this would be possible. Past Invictus 1 year to go events have been brief, confined to a single day of engagements, but Newsweek understands this year's will be a little longer. On paper, that could give father and son more time to find a window to meet, but geography is also a factor, as Birmingham is around 90 minutes by train from London. The monarch will likely also be busy. Let me tell you, Prince Harry, Charles is going to make sure he is as busy as possible, okay? One reason why King Charles visited America to mark the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence in April, rather than the main celebration on July the 4th, is because the period before Balmoral is a busy time for him. There could be way more time for the King and Harry to find time in the diaries to be able to sit down and then to have a conversation, Hagen said. I think that this is a prime opportunity for them to have those conversations, sow those seeds of reconciliation. I definitely think they are going to have a face-to-face meeting.
Could Prince Harry be facing an impossible choice? According to explosive new claims circulating among royal commentators, tensions may be growing over Harry's reported desire to strengthen family ties in Britain and the role his children could play in any future visit. Some critics are even describing the situation as a form of emotional leverage. Supporters say the allegations are unfair speculation with no proof behind them. But the story has reignited one of the most sensitive questions surrounding Harry and Meghan. What happens when family relationships, public scrutiny, and the children of the Sussexes all become part of the same conversation? Stay tuned, because this controversy is raising major questions about the future of Harry's relationship with Britain and the royal family. Since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have built a new life in California. But despite the move, Britain continues to play a central role in Harry's personal story. His father, King Charles III, remains in the UK. His brother, Prince William, represents the future of the monarchy. And every trip Harry makes back to Britain inevitably generates global headlines. The Sussex children have also become a major focus of public attention, with Harry and Meghan maintaining a strong emphasis on privacy around their family life. The latest controversy centers on claims that discussions about future UK visits have become increasingly complicated. Royal commentators have speculated about whether Harry would like more opportunities to reconnect with family members and spend time in Britain. At the same time, debate continues regarding whether the Sussex children should accompany their parents on such trips. Critics argue that disagreements over these issues could create tension within the family. Supporters counter that private family decisions are exactly that, private. Yet because Harry and Meghan remain among the most discussed public figures in the world, even unverified speculation quickly becomes headline news. And that's exactly what appears to be happening now.
Harry's visit may therefore provide an opportunity for royal watchers to assess whether talk of a reconciliation is meaningful, and Meghan said it will be a very bad sign if there is no meeting. However, she said, I think reconciliation will happen. I'm confident it will happen. I've always said it's going to happen. It's just going to take time. I'm not saying that we're going to see William and Harry skipping hand in hand down the Mall anytime soon, but they are going to reconcile. I maintain that William will not ascend to the throne without him and Harry at least having had a conversation. And she urged them to heal their rift within the king's lifetime. It's going to have to accelerate because we all know the king is only getting older. Time is only marching on, and so they are going to have to get their house in order. Excuse me. William has his house in order, okay? He's always had his house in order. He's never gone public, has he? And slagged off his father or his brother or his sister-in-law. So there's only one person who needed to get their house in order, and it was years ago, and it was too late, and he was warned. So can we just not keep on pushing this false narrative? Now, what's interesting is royal YouTube sensation Neil Sean says that his sources in Montecito are reporting that there are now difficulties engulfing the fake royal couple. So this is the ludicrous thing that Prince Harry has to get his head around. Even if he does manage to swindle security, and that is what he would be doing, swindling security, doesn't necessarily mean that Meghan Markle is actually going to allow him to travel with his two children, because she is calling the shots. Now, what is so shocking in all of this, though, is that there does seem to be a government cover-up going on about whether people like me, people like you, if you're in the United Kingdom, are going to have to pay for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's security around the world forevermore. And the Home Office has now refused to engage in Lauren the Insider's legitimate news enquiries as an independent journalist. I want to share with you what she has posted on this, writing, "We're all sick of being played. These clowns," she's talking about the Home Office here, "work for us. This morning, I went straight to the Home Office PR team to get some clarification regarding Harry's taxpayer-funded security bid. I submitted my request, below shots, had 2 conversations with them on the phone, different staff, and their answer, deflective word salad, spun out like we were in a circus. How convenient. When I pushed further, I was told they won't comment reactively, but they wouldn't rule out being proactive." So the PR translation of this basically means they won't answer questions now, but they might leak the story later on their terms. That's how the game works. With Invictus Birmingham 2027 on the horizon, Harry remains politically and diplomatically useful for the establishment. He's being used not only by the king, but by the Labour government. The clock is ticking and the narrative is still being written. The real question isn't what the decision was, it's why the tax-paying public aren't allowed to know. The Labour government and Home Office are in a position whereby they can weaponise their position of power and media black out certain news under the guise of national security. Meanwhile, we are being invaded by thousands of unvetted male migrants. This is a system built to work against the people of the UK who benefits from the secrecy. It's not us, the 99%, that's for sure. Angela Levin, our royal mastermind, Prince Harry's biographer, joins us now. So, Angela, let's kick off with this attempt by Newsweek and allies of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to try and insist that it will be a good thing for King Charles to go ahead with some type of meeting with Prince Harry, even if Meghan Markle refuses to come and bring the grandchildren. And I thought, by the way, Angela, the only point of Charles potentially doing this meeting was so that he got to meet the grandchildren. It's like he already went through the indignity of having to meet with Prince Harry and having everything leaked from that meeting last year. So if the children are not going to come, if Meghan is still using them as a weapon, what's in it for King Charles? Isn't Camilla right to just say, no, you don't need to bother to do this. You know, you're busy. You're busy. You don't need to put yourself through this, my darling.
You're not talking to me, are you? No. Okay.
You are my darling, though, Angela. Don't tell your husband.
Okay. There's one thing I'm sure about is that Meghan always says she's not coming and she is coming. She's done that for so many things, Invictus Games, all sorts of things, because she wants to make an entry. So she could actually say no now, and she could actually come at the last minute when everyone's saying, "Oh, Meghan's coming, I'm bringing the children, it's wonderful." So we have that one. It's what she does in nearly everything, and she's always late, and that's part of her. Now, the other thing is that I don't think King Charles wants to see Harry now. They want to have a holiday. He's been very busy. He's done a lot of great things. And he won't have a nice Harry who goes in. Harry will want to be, I'm going to do it my way. I want to do this. You sit down. I'll do all the things that are needed and help you out. And you just do nothing. It sounds nice, but actually it's really cheeky. And I think he would like to do that. Meghan also, this is my third idea about it, is that Meghan gets very scared about seeing the royal family because she doesn't know how to behave. And it makes her feel awkward because she's not there in the front. She doesn't know how to behave or what to do. And I think that she will leave it to see what her mood is like. I don't think her mood is good because nothing is going well for her at the moment. So there we are. That's a sort of spread.
Yeah, totally. I think you're completely right, Angela. But isn't it terrible, by the way, that there isn't any transparency on this issue of security when we would be the ones, Angela, having to pay for it, which I think would be one of the biggest outrages.
Me too. Nobody follows Harry now. It's gone. He's still living in a long time ago. And I think that nobody wants to do that. Everyone's very upset that he still wants this as somehow to bring him forward, to give him strength, to give him some position. And it's not going to happen. Meghan would like it, of course. She don't pretend that she doesn't. Of course, she would love it. She loves it when there's people around her. We've seen her at any event. You know, she likes to stretch and go moving very gently and actually have people hanging around her in a car, a taxi, or anything that she sits in, that she's there. And she did that soon after she was married. So she would be protected. And as for the children, they would have to be seen. Their faces, you can't say to a child, put your face down, turn round, don't turn round at all while we're doing this. You cannot do it. And I think that would be cruel. And I think that's what she's worried about. So there's lots of things. This is it, you know, you never see them really. Lots of things happen. It's quite ridiculous that, you know, they can't just go over, be nice and come back. But it won't be like that at all. And I also think that the king and the queen are actually going away quite soon. So I don't think it's going to be easy for him to find the time.
Well, I certainly hope they don't make it easy, Angela. Look, I
Yeah,
want to speak to you about
me too.
Princess Eugenie, and there's some question marks about whether she's appropriately using her child, the 3-year-old Ernie, in the right manner, given the current controversy, Angela, surrounding her and the family, and the criticism of Meghan Markle too. So this was the post that she made on Instagram. Happy 3rd birthday to my tiger-loving, hat-wearing, constantly hugging, fearless golden boy Ernie. You light up every room with your deep voice and infectious smile with those gorgeous pictures. And they were lovely pictures, I thought, Angela, although sort of Meghan Markle vibe in terms of like, why you're only showing us part of his face. I always find that weird. But Tom Sykes of the Royalist Substack has been a little bit critical over this post, asking a question about what message she is really trying to send. And this is what he wrote, Angela. Sources have previously said that both Eugenie and her older sister, Princess Beatrice, have prioritised protecting their own children from their father's case, with Eugenie said to be going further in distancing herself from the situation than Beatrice. So Sykes asks, why then does usually appear to be taking a page out of Meghan Markle's playbook, sharing carefully curated glimpses of her children on social media at a time when tensions around the family are said to be running so high. Because, of course, we don't even know for sure whether Beatrice and Eugenie are going to attend Peter Philip's royal wedding this Saturday. Now, Sykes goes on to argue one explanation could be that the princess is simply trying to regain some control over her own story. With another baby on the way with her husband, Jack Brooksbank, which the princess also announced on Instagram with a photo of her two sons holding an ultrasound scan and a caption saying they were very excited to have another sibling join the family, Eugenie seems to be showing that the family she is creating is distinct from the one associated with her father. The pregnancy due this summer and set to make the new baby 15th in line to the British throne is also likely to bring fresh attention to the York family and their place in the line of succession as reported by the Royalist. Against that backdrop, her post can be read as an effort to appear more relatable and human to the public, helping to ensure that any growing anger is not directed at her or her children who had nothing to do with their grandfather's antics. And I mean, that's a fair point, isn't it, Angela? Do you have any problem with her posting her children in this manner, given the
No,
current controversy?
I think she's very strong-minded, more than Beatrice, and not so giving in to things. And she didn't tell her father that she was pregnant or having a baby. Her mother, Sarah, told him. She hasn't actually had anything to do with him. So she's not trying to get in with that. I think she wants to have a very nice life with her husband because they like each other very much indeed, and they can get over it. And I think sometimes if you have a very delicious child, they're all the children are lovely, but if you have a delicious child, like she says, this little one of 3 is, that you actually can't resist saying something about them. It's quite hard. And I don't think she's doing it to get better than anybody else. She just wants to do that because she's lovely. She's got a lovely child that makes her laugh and is, healthy and well.
Angela, speaking of this royal wedding, are you surprised that King Charles has been double booked on the day, although apparently he is going to attend? So let me just take you through this, because this was broken by the Daily Mail overnight. And remember, they usually get the official briefing as to what's going on with the King and the Queen. And they report that the King and Queen will attend Derby Day on Saturday, the same day as Peter Philip's wedding to his NHS nurse fiancée, Harriet Spurling. And of course, that prompted real worries that the King and Queen might not go. And that would be terrible because this is meant to be the big royal wedding of the year. However, the Daily Mail seems to suggest that the King and Queen are going to attend both events, Angela, reporting it's set to be a busy Saturday for Charles and Camilla, who are expected to join other senior royal family members, such as the Prince and Princess of Wales, at the nuptials of Princess Anne's son before heading to Epsom Downs. Peter and Harriet's private ceremony will take place at All Saints Church in the Gloucestershire village of Kemble. Guests will toast them afterwards at a reception hosted by the groom's family at Gatcombe Park. The King and Queen are likely able to attend both the wedding, thought to be taking place in the morning, before heading to Epsom, Surrey, for the Derby Day's big race at 4 p.m. Now, remember, their majesties are both patrons of the Jockey Club, which owns and runs Epsom Downs Racecourse, and the King's late mother, Queen Elizabeth II, was an avid attendee of the Derby, missing the fixture only twice in her long reign. The royal tradition is now being continued by Charles and Camilla, who visited on Oaks Day in 2024 to present the Coronation Cup, and will return to the famous Surrey Downs to witness its most prestigious day of racing. And this has now been confirmed, Angela, by Epsom's general manager, Jim Allen, who said, "We are honoured and thrilled the King and Queen will be joining us at Epsom Downs on Derby Day. Their Majesties show great enthusiasm, interest and support for horse racing in the UK, and their attendance next week will be a proud moment for all the team here and everyone connected with the racecourse." Now, Angela, I guess there was a little part of me that just thought, oh, goodness, can't they just go to the wedding? Do you know what I mean? But I know they love Derby Day. And then I thought, well, was that badly arranged? I mean, will they have to get changed, for example, Angela? Or what do you think the logistics will be here?
Well, I think it would be quite simple, really, because this is a second wedding. It's not a white dress wedding. And they have said that they want a very quiet, simple time. They don't want a big fuss. So they're giving them exactly that. They're going to be there in the morning, but I don't think they want to talk to everybody who's there, whether anyone is there who might not come. Harry and Meghan can always come. You never know that. They bust into all sorts of places. They don't want to be there for it. And Beatrice and Eugenie, it's a bit awkward at the moment. So if they go there, smile and all do all that, and then go to work, their type of absolute fun and enjoy it. And it's quite a distance in terms of time, that it's going to be an early morning wedding, and then you do something at 4. And you can see that Derby Day is a very special one for everybody, both sides. And so that's what they're going to do. And I think they are covering something from home and something from their work and doing their duty.
Angela, more bad news for the palace, though, today, with an Epstein survivor now directly accusing them of a cover-up. This is Jess Michaels. She's telling the Daily Telegraph that the royal household failed to act on evidence that the former prince leaked trade secrets. Now, she claims to be sexually assaulted by Epstein in 1991 when she was 22 years old, but she has claimed the royal institution has failed to act on evidence that he had leaked confidential government information. Speaking to the Telegraph, she accused the palace of protecting Mr. Mountbatten Windsor after it had received emails 6 years ago showing that he had shared sensitive government information with a business contact while he was trade envoy. She said 6 years ago, the palace knew Andrew wasn't just a problem, he could face a criminal investigation, and they sat on it. She was a professional dancer, this woman, in New York City. That's when Epstein assaulted her. And she said it added to the fact that the failure to act had wider moral consequences for survivors and others connected to the case. She said protecting him meant doubting her. Virginia Roberts Giuffre was telling the truth, and she didn't leave to see them admit it. That breaks my heart, and it should break everyone's. This is what institutions do. They protect powerful men and leave the people they harmed to carry it. Angela, your response to this?
Yes, well, the thing is, they didn't want to upset the Queen. That's the point, Can understand that at one level, that she wouldn't know what he was really up to. He could turn around as easily as pie, and he just, can get her in a good mood. But actually, it's just wrong that she didn't find out a lot of these things. I don't think she was told very much at all, and he certainly wouldn't say anything to his mother. So the people who were working there were too scared. And actually what you needed to have somebody who would be brave enough to say, look, Your Majesty, this and this is happening and we really can't deal with it. First of all, she might say, don't be ridiculous. That's nonsense. But it would stay in her head, and then she'd try and do something. Or they have to risk being sent out. I know so much with Harry, when people were talking about him, and all the people who were supposed to look after him were terrified of telling the king of what was going on, or that wasn't the king, a prince then, about it. And they just say to me, we can't, because he'll say it's not true, and then we'll get the sack. And I think I could recognise that. And so that's how difficult it was. But actually, for the woman who has this terrible act on her, she just have to, even if she says something, she wouldn't have won. So it's taken years, decades, before they have the courage to say something about it. And it's really terrible, absolutely shocking.
What makes this story so compelling is that it touches on something deeper than royal protocol. Family. Because beneath all the headlines, titles, and public controversy lies a simple reality. Harry is a son, a brother, and a father. Every decision involving Britain carries personal consequences. Every visit creates expectations. Every absence creates questions. And every discussion involving the children instantly becomes emotionally charged. That's why stories like this spread so quickly. People aren't just debating royal affairs. They're debating family relationships. But here's where the situation becomes even more interesting. Because this isn't just about a trip to Britain. It's about influence. For years, Harry and Meghan have worked to establish boundaries around their family life. They've repeatedly emphasized privacy and control over how their children are presented publicly. At the same time, public curiosity has remained intense. As a result, every discussion involving the Sussex children attracts enormous attention. Critics see strategic decisions. Supporters see parental protection. And those competing interpretations often fuel entirely different narratives around the same events. That divide is now at the center of this latest controversy. What's fascinating is how much public discussion now revolves around possibilities rather than confirmed facts. People speculate about meetings, visits, family conversations, future reconciliation, potential disagreements. And because so little is known about private discussions behind palace walls, those gaps are often filled by commentators and media personalities. The result is an endless cycle of theories and counter-theories. Some believable, some questionable, all generating attention. Meanwhile, the wider royal family continues moving forward. King Charles remains focused on the monarchy's future. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, increasingly represent the institution's next chapter. Harry and Meghan continue pursuing projects and opportunities outside the formal royal structure. Yet despite living separate lives, the connection between the Sussexes and the royal family remains impossible to ignore. Every development brings renewed interest. Every rumor sparks fresh debate. And every possible reunion becomes front-page news. Perhaps the most revealing part of this story isn't whether the allegations are true. It's the fact that so many people immediately found them plausible. That reaction reflects how much public fascination remains surrounding Harry's relationship with Britain. Years after stepping away from royal duties, audiences still want answers. Will there be reconciliation? Will family relationships improve? Will the Sussex children play a role in rebuilding those connections? Those questions continue driving headlines around the world. So is this latest controversy evidence of real behind-the-scenes tension? Or simply another example of speculation filling the gaps left by private family conversations? Only those closest to the situation truly know. But one thing is certain. The story of Harry, Meghan, and the royal family remains far from over. At its core, this controversy isn't really about travel plans. It's about family bonds, parental choices, and the challenges of navigating intensely public relationships while trying to maintain private lives. For Harry and Meghan, that balancing act continues generating headlines unlike almost any other couple in the world. If you enjoy royal news, palace drama, and in-depth analysis of the biggest stories involving Harry, Meghan, William, Catherine, and the royal family, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next royal headline could be even more surprising than this one.